Afternoon sunlight dances with the shadows cast by the branches of the massive trees above you. The evergreen scent of pine refreshes your senses. You arrive at the forest of Elkona, the forest of the elves.
Actually, remember the swamp we passed 2 days ago?
The one where we met the old man innocently gathering firewood?
I'm not so sure he was innocent.
We should check it out.
But the forest of Elkona, it awaits. I've planned the forest. You guys said you were going to go to the forest this session.
Calm down. We'll go to your forest.
Just after we've gone back to that swamp.
Fine. You arrive at the swamp. It's swampish. There's swamp stuff everywhere.
Can you be more specific?
The swamp smells of swamp.
What do I see?
Swamp. Don't be that, GM. Players are going to go where players go. With the Creator's Guide to Epic Locations Nature, you'll never be stuck for ideas, maps, adventures, or places for your PCs to explore again. Get your free chapter, Swamps, when you check out the Kickstarter. Link below. The fetid reek of decay fills your nose and the black mud sucks at your boots. Cold pools of dark water promise death to all who enter.
Aw, cool, I guess.
You know what?
Back to the forest!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Be a Great GM. My name is Guy, and I think you should just press the subscribe button right now. You should just do it. Just do it. Do it. Anyway, forget me. I'm on a high, apparently. Just having a marvelous time with life, and I hope that you are too. I really do. We're talking about how to upgrade our NPCs, and we are revisiting COGASS. COGASS, if you remember, was something that we applied to our NPCs. Occupation, goal, attitude, and stake. And that was a basis from which we would form our NPCs, and I hope on this channel have demonstrated how COGASS is a really powerful tool in terms of driving really cool NPCs. I have, however, over the last year realized that COGASS is too limiting. I needed to add 2 additional letters. And all that those were going to do was simply to create more interesting NPC options that my players could interact with. But my players probably wouldn't even realize that they're having a more interactive experience. But it certainly would for those that would take notice. So why not do it? So we are changing officially COGASS from COGASS, and we are now changing it to COGASS. A double S at the end. COGASS. The C, which we are now adding, stands for color. Now, whenever I create an NPC, I have to say I don't really give a hoot as to the color of the NPC, but if I was pressed, I would say, oh, their color. And then I would suddenly start to try and think of all kinds of interesting and intelligent answers, rather than just being truthful, going, oh, well, I just assumed that they were white. Or if they drow, that they were blue. Or if they're orcs, that they were green. So by adding in the C, the color, what it does is it inspires you to think slightly out of the box when you're creating an NPC. Remember, COGASS is meant to be something that's quick and done on the fly. So with COGASS, you now go, okay, gnome, COGASS, C, the gnome is olive green, because that's the color that gnomes are within my world space, or the gnome is luminous pink, or the gnome is slightly yellow, or the gnome is sunburnt orange with brown freckles. The C inspires you to create a more interesting NPC. So when the player characters then meet that character, they are now learning some additional information, and it suddenly feels as if your world is just that more creative. See how it makes you look better by just adding in 1 letter? Then the final S, which we add at the end for COGASS, the final S is their sexuality. And that could mean simply that our olive green gnome is binary, or is non-sexual, or is absolutely heterosexual. Could be anything along those lines. Why do we need to add in that kind of diversity? Again, all it's doing is it is creating a more interesting experience for everybody involved. It's challenging you as the GM to now role play something that you haven't normally role played before. assumedly, or it's allowing your player characters to go, oh, I want to flirt with the dwarf. Well, I'm sorry, the dwarf just doesn't find you attractive. The dwarf is far more interested in the whatever over there. It is just a little peppering of additional information that creates a much more creative space. So with COGASS in mind, we then need to apply the 7 types of NPC to this COGASS if the NPC is going to be around for a while. This is my process. My players meet an NPC. I COGASS the hell out of the NPC, and the players never talk to the NPC again. Not a problem, nothing lost. A few moments later, my player characters meet another NPC, and for whatever reason, the COGASS just seems to inspire them no end, and they decide that they want the NPC to join them. Now I 7-type this particular NPC. I will look and say, well, should they be a guide? Are they going to help lead the party somewhere? Should they be an advancement NPC, where they're going to help advance the story along for the characters? Should they be a mentor NPC, where they're going to give the character advice? Should they be a long-term NPC, where they're going to support the characters through thick and thin and just be around to help make the characters' lives better? Should they be a support character, where they are literally going to be making campfires for the PCs, repairing their armor, doing all of the odd jobs, basically being background help? Are there going to be some kind of reflection, where maybe it could be a comic reflection, where they are simply making jokes, making light of things, showing the PCs how not to do things, coming up with dumb ideas to try and prevent the player characters from getting there first, that kind of thing? Or are they a dead end? Because if they're a dead end, and that means they don't want to join the party. They don't want to be involved with the party. And that is a perfectly acceptable type of NPC to be. You might walk up to a blacksmith and compliment the blacksmith and find out that the blacksmith hates their job and say, well, come and work with us. We'll hire you for double your wage. That blacksmith, if they're a dead-end NPC, will refuse. And in real life, that happens all the time as well. People go, nah, at least I know my situation, and I know I hate my situation, but I know my situation. I'm not going to change it up to go and join a bunch of madmen running around killing things. So those are the types that I apply, and when you put that together with competency, proactivity, and likability, we then have this amazingly complete character that can take on the world and that can do whatever we need them to do. They don't need a giant backstory. Those will come in time. Those will be revealed in time. So for me, that's really the power of COGASS, is to create complete characters by answering a few measly questions, which you only do as the players engage more with that particular NPC. That's it from me. I have a challenge for you, and if you accept the challenge, and I hope you do, you can give yourself 150 experience points. What is my challenge? Turn yourself into an NPC and then jot yourself down in the comments down below. Use COGASS. Let us get some NPC inspiration from you. Until next time, I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming.